John chapter 20, verses 26 through 28 say this. And after 8 days, Jesus' disciples were inside and Thomas was with them. Jesus came, the door being shut, and stood in the midst of them, saying, "Peace to you." Then he said to Thomas, "Reach your finger here and look at my hands. And reach out your hand here and put it into my side. Do not be unbelieving, but believing." And Thomas answered him, "My Lord and my God." One of the most beautiful attributes of Jesus are his scars. I remember over a year ago now, just before Christmas, we had on display in our office here in Canada, at the RZIM office, we had an art exhibit on display entitled Beautiful, or Khubsurat in Hindi. I hope I'm saying that right. My apologies if I butchered it. But that's the Hindi way of saying the word beautiful. And it's right here beside me. And we had this on display, and it was this collection of paintings and photographs of women from India who have survived the horrors of bridal burning, domestic violence, and domestic accidents. Now, the stories behind these brave women are extraordinarily moving. Many of them are literally covered in scars. Well, one day we had a non-Christian gentleman come into our office and want to look at all of the paintings and photographs. So I stopped what I was doing and took him on a tour around. And as we were looking around, taking our time, we came to the end of the tour, and it ends in one of the corners, and not with a painting, but with a simple photograph. And it's actually right beside me here. And it's of a group of women who are laughing and together. And I'll never forget, he asked me a question when he was just staring at this photograph. He asked me, "Alanzo, do these women, do they live in a community together?" And I wasn't sure. But I asked him, "I'm curious to know, why do you ask that question?" And I'll never forget his profound response. He said, "Alanzo, I suspect they do. Because it is only those with scars that could possibly understand the scars of others." Let me say that again for you. It is only those with scars that could possibly understand the scars of others. I said to this gentleman, we come from completely different worldviews. But let me tell you about the gospel. The beauty and power to transform, the transforming power of the Christian gospel is because at the center of it is a scarred God. And this scarred God, Jesus Christ, intimately and eternally understands the scars of us. And it is by his beautiful scars that we are healed and we are forgiven. Even in our text that I just read from John chapter 20, Jesus says to Thomas, "Look at my scars, look at my hands." And Jesus says to everyone that is hurting today, "Oh, you hurting one, look at my hands." You who are uncertain of Christ's love for you, he would say, "Look at my hands." To anyone that is burdened with guilt and shame, Jesus says, "Look at my hands." Any one of us that has experienced the horrors of injustice or violence or evil, Jesus says, "I know Look at my hands. The meaning of Christ's scars is that our scars are not without meaning. They mean infinitely because they mean infinitely to God. And Christ's beautiful scars mean also that we're not without hope in our world. For he died from his wounds on the cross. But Jesus experienced victory and not loss. He rose again and is risen still. And into our wounds, he pours his love out to fill. He was scarred for us to purchase a people of his very own. Look at his scars and know for certain that you are loved and not alone.